So this is Tech Next, and we do this Women in Tech series. We'll talk about women in the African tech space that are just doing amazing things, extraordinary things, as we call it. And you're one of them, Ifeoma Uddoh. So Ifeoma Uddoh is the CEO of Shecluded. It is the first female Fintech company that just cares about women's financial well-being and all of that. It's very good to have you.
Thank you very much.
So I want to just start with a very, very basic, but not so basic question. What is it like being a CEO and a woman in the Nigerian tech ecosystem?
Okay. How do I unpack that? So first of all, what does it feel like being a female CEO? It feels like a lot of work because, as women, I'm also a mom. We're always multitasking, always growing. So it's a lot of work, but the passion for the end point that I'm trying to create kind of like keeps me going. In terms of being a CEO in the tech space, for me, it's also a lot of learning because my background is in mathematics and I've worked in tech firms like for over 10 years. And I think before I went to start Shecluded, I was working in a tech company, in a seed funding company for tech. And I quickly realized I was not seeing many women getting funding. And I wanted to start a tech company that's focused on creating finance for women. So for me, it's been a lot of learning, both on the CEO part, on the tech part, and also identifying and gathering the people and the tools that you need to grow. So that's what it's been for me.
That's interesting. And you said the seed funding, you work in the seed funding company. Why do you think there is that gap with just balancing the gender when it comes to funding, that women get less funding than men? We've seen reports about it, but what would you say about it?
So in terms of tech, to be very frank, before I started Shecluded, I was working in the seed funding space and I was there for 4 years. I'm not sure I saw up to 10 women. So just by pure numbers, more men were starting tech company at the time. So it just makes sense that we see more men. Now there are so many more women. I can remember the 4 women that I met when I was working in seed funding. And the 4 of them, I still know them up to today. 2 of them have raised. So I'm excited. There's also the part of subconscious bias when it comes to funding. Typically, you tend to connect more with people that talk like you, that sound like you. And what has predominantly happened over the years is that people that write checks tend to be men. So it means that, the whole how they network, how they connect, how they communicate, they are more familiar. So it's subconscious bias for me. Then again, more women were predominantly in sectors where funding were not coming to, and even at that level, many of them were in the micro level. So I know that over time, those things are changing quickly, and we're seeing more and more women getting funding, and very importantly, growing profitable businesses.
That's interesting. You said there's something that, people say that female tech talents often stay together. So they don't want to share their knowledge, they don't want to just expand. So there's some tech companies that, most of them are female founders, or they have more female C executives, and they are not expanding to other areas. Why do you think they always limit themselves, or they like staying together for female?
What does staying together mean?
Like, I don't want to call names of companies, but say the founder of a tech company now is there, and other C-level executives are also female. And there are other startups or there are other industries, other niches that don't have any female founders. Let's say for the fintech industry, fintech space, now we have some female founders that have been there for a while. And there are some other areas that you rarely see women in there. So why do you think they always shift or stay together in one particular area and expanding?
So I don't think that is something that is conscious. I feel that, I mean, so for example, if you see, like you said, the fintech area, I think what has happened is that as more and more women come into a sector and say, hey, hi, there's opportunity for me to do something in tech, more and more other women get confident and say, hi, if she can do it, I can do it. So it's just that whole first mover. I feel like with tech and with fintech, it looks like that is at the forefront of what financial inclusion and what tech is at this time. But I feel like other sectors, trust me, will follow suit. I know that EdTech is another one that's quickly coming, and I'm seeing some very powerful women trying to build things in that space.
That's interesting. So when you said Shecluded in 2019, what were the challenges that you faced in just starting? 2019 was during the COVID-19.
Yeah, just before COVID.
Yeah, just before COVID. So what did you face, like challenges that you faced along the way that got you to where you are now?
So when I started Shecluded, the first challenge that I noticed was that nobody was starting a female-focused company. So when I saw the data and I got the lead in to go and start Shecluded, everybody was saying, why do you want to start a female-focused company? I mean, you're cutting like almost 50% of the population out, blah, blah, blah. And I said, hi, that's where I saw a gap. That's where I was led to go and play. So that was the first challenge. Just being able to believe in myself to say, this is a problem, I want to tackle it. So for anybody that's building something and you feel very strongly that this is what you want to put your life in, believe that the dots will connect. The second challenge that I faced was financing. And at that time, I mean, now it's sort of like in to be female and to be doing female stuff. At that time, it was like, the first person I pitched to was like, nah. And I said, you know what? Okay, I think I have to prove this. And I went to the bank, withdrew all my savings, and I started Shecluded. So funding was a challenge, and how I solved it was the fact that I wanted to put in my own funding to be able to get the traction that I needed to convince people that, guys, I'm not making this up. More attention, more female-focused products will get in more women. So that's another challenge that I faced. Then the third challenge was just getting the right team that I wanted. At that time, I remember, I think my first staff was it 50K or something? So it was like, gosh, the talent that I wanted, I couldn't afford them. I mean, now I can't really afford some of them. But I found out very quickly how to be more goal-oriented than any other thing. I think that taught me. Another challenge I faced was that, I mean, I've worked all my life, even though I'd worked in consulting and I've worked in management firm, and I've worked in management position across tech. I realized that being a CEO and a startup CEO was another ballgame.
Different.
And frankly, if anybody has told me the ballgame, I would have, never been one. So it took me a lot to immediately see my weakness trying to sabotage me in different areas. And it took me a while to know that the goal is not to pretend like this weakness are not there, but to find how to make up for them, either by upskilling, reskilling, or whether by getting people that will support me in those areas. But just being comfortable enough to know that, hey, I have this weakness and I want to be able to cover it to be able to move ahead.
That's interesting. You said you withdrew all your money to start Shecluded. How much was like your first initial?
I think I started Shecluded with maybe 27 million.
That's interesting.
Then at that time, I had different savings, and some of them I didn't have. I mean, it was at different points that I put them in, because at that point, I remember I was still working. I stopped working sometime around December, but I quit completely around March 2019. And yeah.
That's interesting. And in total, since 2019 till now, how many women have you empowered along the way with Shecluded?
Gosh. Okay. In terms of access to credits, I think we've given over 3,570 women. In terms of training, different upskilling events, we've done over 17,000.
That's interesting. And do you have like one success story from one of these women that reached out to you
Gosh, we do have so many success stories, and we share some of them on our Instagram. But I think one that I can really remember, that is always a reminder that things can happen and people's life can change, is Chiagozie. I remember she was working at the toll gate at the time. She said she was living in Nigeria. She had 4 kids, and she has to resume by 5 a.m. every day. So, and she gets home, she's there all day, she leaves by 6, and then she gets home by like 9. And after a while, she says that she can't cope because before she gets home, her children have gone to bed, and she has to leave in the morning by like 3:30 to get there. And you know, she was like, oh, her friends told her about a cosmetics business, blah blah blah, and you know, we should give her 100K. I was like, it's 100K. She has a job, and we gave her 100K, and you know, she paid off the 100K. She continued taking loans, 150K, 100K. And one day, I think after a year or something, she says, I want to tell you something. I want to meet you to be able to tell you. I said, okay, shoot. And she said, hey, that I've been doing this business and they want a distributor. And I noticed that the brand I'm working with, they don't have a distributor in Nigeria. And I feel that if I open a company, if I open a branch, you know, a makeup branch, that they're going to make me a distributor. And it will help me quit my job. But I need 800,000 naira for rent. And I know on the top of my mind, I'm like, gosh, this is 800,000 naira. But I'm like, she has never been late on her loans. And I took that shot and we gave her that money. And guess what? They made her a distributor. She left her job. And today, I mean, she has even taken up to 3 million or something. Like, do you get? So I watched her grow into this person that she is. And it just reminds me that if she never, and today, like, so she says her shop is close to her house.
So there's no need for the whole.
No, so there's no need. So sometimes when I see her on Instagram, I'm reminded that, you know, investing in women is the right thing that I want to end up doing with my life.
So if you know this is the goal for Shecluded, what do you think? Why do you think that there is that challenge for women getting just financial support? Is it based on societal, just how society judges women, or just traditionally in Nigeria? Because this is not just a problem in Nigeria.
Yeah,
Africa.
it's actually not a problem.
So why
in
do you
Nigeria.
think that there is that problem?
So I think the first thing I found out is that traditional financial systems were built at a time when women were not key players. Were built by men. And over the years, that's not improved. I mean, women are still working, still doing more things. We just came and we joined the system. What has happened is that the key decision makers are still men. The structures, the metrics for saying who to give or who not to give are still like, sort of like biased a bit. Then, on the other side, I think women have somehow gotten the message unconsciously and just never shown up. So it's a two-way thing. What we did at Shecluded was that we just put women in front and now say, okay, so now this is focused on women and I'm a woman, tell me. And instead of saying, bring all these checklists that the bank do, we depend so much on alternative data. Okay, bring this. And we found out it worked. So it's a two-way thing with the establishment and just with women. And I noticed that with working with women in Shecluded, I noticed that financial literacy is big. Like, it can make a difference for many women.
So that's interesting. And I mean, Shecluded. I don't want to ask you. Sorry, I don't want to ask you how the name was being coined and all of that, because she included or
God, everybody keeps asking me that question. So then when I was thinking about So first thing is that I think I registered Shecluded in 2017? Then I was thinking of starting a company that will include people that are excluded. It was not female focused. I was just saying I want to start a finance company that sort of like includes people that I feel that were excluded. And I said, what's the name? I said included. So we're registered as included. So as 2018 and I started, interacting with people, started doing a lot of research, I noticed I was more particular to women. And like, the impact, I mean, I'm also a woman. And originally my mom was 27 when my dad died. So I was the first of 4 kids. So I single-handedly saw the impact of what powerful women can do. I mean, we are the first generation, like graduates, school abroad kind of stuff. And it was all because my mom made that decision. So I knew that when women are financially able enough to take decisions, that it benefits them, their family, and the society at large. So I just went with.
That's interesting. And how do you make your your revenue? How do you make money out of Shecluded?
We charge an interest on the loan.
Interest of how much?
So it depends on your credit profile. So we charge between 2.9 to 4%, depending on how we rate you.
And what if the person doesn't pay?
We've had few people that don't pay. I mean, we give a recovery company to handle it. But typically, as we've operated over the years, our credit algorithm has sort of like gotten better. So right now we can predict better who will pay and who will not pay. And also we've also been able to know that, because I think what happened when we started was that I wanted to focus on everybody. I think, I even had a soft spot for stay-at-home moms, because I'm like, gosh, some of them are like, gosh, I'm stuck.
Can't do anything.
But as time goes on, we're now like, okay, we need to still stay sustainable and profitable to be able to continue the work that we've done. So we sort of like streamlined, narrowed out our customer stuff. And in cases where we want to do something to people outside our bracket, we sort of like work with other donors and other partners to be able to do that.
That's interesting. And Shecluded has been for how many years now? Looking at 2019, 2020, 2021, almost 5 years
maybe
now.
4.
And what would you say is your biggest achievements in the last 4 years? That has been like a wow moment for you.
For me or for the company?
For you and the company, you are the company. You're part of the company.
No, I'm part of the company. So a wow moment for me was setting up our hub. I've always wanted to set up a space where women entrepreneurs can come in and be able to brainstorm and everything. I mean, because it's a quiet day, so typically you see like a lot of women here trying to do one or two things, and just being able to achieve it is something that I like, and it gives us confidence to know that some things that we have on our roadmap is possible. I think that's it. In terms of me, I think anytime we get opportunities for funding, it's a wow moment for me, because it means that we can do bigger work. I mean, we just recently got one. We're not announcing yet, and we're very excited of the work that we intend to do in the next 2 years.
That's interesting. Are you going to expand more with this funding?
Yes, we're expanding. I mean, this year we have expanded. So we currently have clients in South Africa and in Uganda, because surprisingly we find out that this whole women issue to access to finance is not just Nigeria. It's also like the same African. I can remember the day we got an email from somebody in Malawi say, hey, come to Malawi, it's the same thing, the banks don't want to give us money. I was like, wait, what? So we're thinking of expanding, but very, very quickly, we're also thinking of cementing sort of like our position, making sure that the work that we've done, where there are gaps, just filling it up in terms of the next level for us.
That's interesting. And as a successful social entrepreneur that is focused on gender equality, what would you say are some initiatives or just projects that the government can put in place to support female collaboration, female inclusion, and all of that?
I think I wrote an article on this. Now that you've told me, I think I'll go and look for it and publish it. So I think one is access to finance. So we give debt. We're trying to evolve to have something like a Shecluded venture to give equity. But very, very quickly for me, I've noticed that how did some of the developed economies solve this? They were giving tax incentive for people that invest in women-led businesses. So in terms of policy, there should be a policy that enable or create sort of like a level playing field for everyone. Another thing that I think that the government can do is just being able to work with people that, as in based on my learnings, I was at W20 India, and I saw like the government's intention or very deliberate intention to work with people they call grassroots companies that are focused on gender. So it's like just work with them, expand their work, make sure that their work is as effective as it could be. So I think that that's something else that, from a policy point of view, to help to know that, hey, intentionally, I know that if I activate the female economy in Nigeria, it means that I can increase maybe my GDP by another maybe $10 million, whatever number that number is, and just being intentional about putting things that we cultivated. Knowing that many women run MSMEs, how do we create infrastructures and things that will help them grow? I mean, for example, I was reading an article where I think in their own states they made a manufacturing hub, government-funded manufacturing hub. So the women, when they want NAFDAC, NAFDAC doesn't need to come and say, come and show me your facility, and everybody's doing one small thing at the back of their kitchen. It's like they go there, use it and manufacture. Do you get what I mean? Very deliberate investments on long-term infrastructure and policies that can activate the female economy and encourage more women entrepreneurs to scale.
That's interesting. And then for the tech industry, what initiatives can they put in place to like promote diversity, inclusion in just what we do?
I noticed like one is telling the stories of more female tech CEOs. Because I noticed that the more people see people like them, they know that it's possible. Do you understand? So that's very, very important. We need to tell our stories and tell them very well. Another thing that I've noticed is just being able to find out what those that are there already, how do I make sure they are success stories? Do you get? So it looks like at the beginning, there has to be an intentional grooming of things, people that are there and stuff. And maybe once in a while, survey research, just to be able to say what's happening here.
See the growth process.
Yeah, see the growth process.
That's interesting. Now,
start from when they're young, because sometimes most of the foundation needed to do big things. Some women, just based on maybe their nurturing, their environment, are just excluded from it. So even when they get to a point and they want to do it, they find out that they have to do like a lot of work to get there. So start by even the STEM in school, how do we make sure that more women are in STEM? How do we make sure that we make STEM also attractive for everyone?
That's interesting. Yeah. And you're one of the role models that people look up to when it comes to female founders, CEO in Nigeria. How do you manage professional and personal life? How do you manage that work-life balance? I know you're a mom, so
Yeah, I'm a mom of 4 kids. So I have 4 girls. How do I manage? I think I learned from the guys. I learned to to put my life in compartments. So me, Ifeoma Shecluded, when I'm at work, it's different from Ifeoma when you see me at home. And it's different from Ifeoma when you see me on the street. Sometimes on the street, I'm like, gosh, all dressed up in my loose dress and licking ice cream. And I see people and somebody will now say, oh, hi, are you Ifeoma? I say, no. No, I'm
different
not.
personalities.
No, I'm not. Just like, oh, sorry, you look like that. I say, good. Like, so seriously. So, I mean, just being able to put my life in compartments also helped. Then I noticed that anytime I don't pray for a long time, it means that I become this horrible person because of the pressure. So I try to make it sort of like a routine to sort of like read my Bible and pray more regularly, because I notice that anytime I do it, it's I feel more relaxed. Then I also forgive myself a lot. I feel that that's one thing that I learned. I can't remember where I learned it from, to say like, forgive yourself. So today if I wake up and I feel like, gosh, I'm a bad mom today, I wake up tomorrow and say, I forgive myself, I'm going to do better, and I try to be there. Today I wake up and say, oh gosh, what kind of CEO is this? And I say, okay, I'm going to put in my best there. And just enjoy and know that happiness is in the journey. It's not a destination. So I'm also very conscious about being my own person. Not the person that the world is trying to create. Just my own person, to say what do I want to achieve in the world, what is good for me, and what is good for the vision that I want to see in the world. So I think that helps.
That's interesting. And so we've come to the end of this first part.
Thank you.
So we want to do just a quick Q&A question. We'll ask you just some random questions about things. So what is your day-to-day life as a CEO? What do you do morning to night? 8 a.m.
Gosh. I'm wondering, should I answer the Elliot Musk one? So wake up by 5 a.m., take some stretches.
Take some coffee.
No, you say you start with some stretches, do meditation, or should I be preached truthful? So I think that if I read a lot of even me, sometimes I go and say, what do powerful CEOs all over the world do? What's their morning routine like?
Follow it
when I read it, I'm like, I think I saw one yesterday, and who was she? She was saying that, after the rotation, and they give themselves a high five in front of the mirror. And I remember, and I remember driving in my car today, and I now look and say, high five. And my mind said, wait, Ifeoma, are you kidding me? Are you sure you're not following all these new age people? So for me, first thing is that I work better at night because it's more quiet. So I tend to always sleep late. Like my brain is always active, very active at night. So when I wake up in the morning, like I said, I'm a mom. I have to look at my kids, try and make sure that everything with them is cool. Then I sort of think about what I want to achieve that day. Sort of notice 1 or 2 days that I want to achieve that day. Then I get dressed. Then I come to work. I told you there's nothing interesting. Then I remember that. Then I think when I get to work, I sort of maybe check my emails if there are top emails to respond to. Then I think that's it. Then I start my day. Just basically,
What are your hobbies? What do you do outside during the weekends?
What do I like doing? I like experience. So you know how people will say, oh, they invest in Gucci and this and that. I like experience, maybe just going to a hotel maybe for 3 days and just lounging. So I love that, and I love traveling. I think those are the two things that I like.
That's interesting. And what would you say is like your go-to motto when you feel down? You say this to yourself, like your affirmation words, or you don't have any? Just
No. I think I do. I think just keep moving. There's I realized that life is motion, and if you're not in the motion, you are likely to be a victim of that motion. So I always wake up and I say, okay, I'm always in the motion. I think like forward motion. I'm always intentionally trying to say create forward motion. So when I'm not in the mood and stuff, I'm not a very good pity party thrower. So it's like, I mean, sometimes I struggle with it because when I meet people that like pity parties and they invite you to it, I always don't know how to like respond. But I found out that it's a personality thing. Yeah. So I'm not a very big thing. So I'm always like, it has happened. Let's just move forward. Kind of girl. Yeah.
Last final question for Shecluded. You have 4 girls. Is it going to turn into like a family business? Do you want them to find their purposes?
No. I mean, I like the fact that the world is paying attention to saying, hi, okay, how do we make sure that more women thrive? But in terms of my daughters, I want them to be whatever they want to be. I mean, one of them wants to be a ballet dancer, the other one wants to be a pilot, the other one wants to be a medical doctor. And my new baby, I don't know what she wants to be. She wants to be a mommy's handbag, I guess. So no. I want them, they can do anything they want to be.
That's interesting.
So
Thank you so much for
this opportunity.
I hope you enjoyed the conversation.
Yes, I did.
And I look forward to the next big thing that Shecluded has.
Next impactful thing. Everybody's always looking for the next big thing. And they always miss it. That is in the details, in the small things. The small things that changes people's life. I think that's the point we are right now in Africa, where everybody's looking for the next big thing. And there's this crave for this big thing that people are just saying, oh, I want wealth without work. And that's what got us here, wealth without work. Because if work was going on, we would have industries, we would have good roads, we would have infrastructures to be able to build on. So just moving back and say, how do we change our narrative to say, hi, the small things you do, are you a plumber? That small plumber, that's a good enough, impactful work. I feel that that's the narrative for building Nigeria and Africa.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye.